Hey guys, it's Josh, and welcome back to the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad, your favorite podcast for learning how to balance between being a functional adult and a raging dumpster fire. And some days, we're all a bit of a dumpster fire. Joining me inside the Bachelor Pad today is Justin R. Justin, thank you so much for making time for us today. How
Yeah.
are you doing?
All right. I'm hanging in. Oh, it's summer. The weather has been good. I'm trying to make the best of it so far. So, trying to get out more and do more outdoor activities.
I am right there with you. Today, it was a beautiful day outside. My goal is to at least spend 2 hours outside every day this summer, whether that's going for a walk, hitting the pool, or just reading a book on the porch. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Where are you located? I don't think I asked you that before.
Yeah. I'm in New York City.
City that really never sleeps. So I was like, there's always something to do or out there.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Where are you located?
Down here in Nashville.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
there. I went there for a bachelor party once. It was fun.
I feel like that's all this town is turning into is the bachelorette party capital
Right.
of the U.S.
Right.
But I don't mind it. It keeps things interesting to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be upset that people want to come there. I mean, it's a cool place.
Yeah.
You have to have got to be like a cheerleader down there for Nashville. So
Listen, I don't mind as long as they come for like 2 days and then they go back home.
yeah, that's it. That's important. You have your fun, and then during the week, just get out of here. Go back to where
That's
you
right.
were.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll give you Thursday through Sunday. After that, just let us be. So, Justin, tell me a little bit about you. What inspired you to start getting into this space, first of all?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started this tech software engineering journey like 10 years ago, about 10 years ago. I think I took a course, started dabbling with software around September of 2014. So it's been almost 10 years. I don't know. I was kind of at a fork in the road in terms of my journey and career and what I wanted to do. If it wasn't for software engineering, which is what I'm doing now, I may have been working at an Apple store, but thank God I didn't get a second round because if I did, I probably would have been working at an Apple store right now. One of their Genius bars or something. I don't know. I've always been into tech. I've always had the entrepreneurship sort of bug. My whole family are entrepreneurs. They're all business owners. So I feel like it's just kind of in the blood. Going to high school during the time of like social media where like MySpace and Facebook started and all these kind of like the tech bubbles started. I've always been like, I want to do my own thing one day. I want to be big one day. I want to do something, amazing. I've just had that mentality and mindset for a while. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to realistically, raise money for something or build something extraordinary and realistically do it, I figured I might as well build it myself instead of trying to hire somebody else to do it. Because I feel like if you build it yourself, the chances of you raising money potentially, if you need to, is much higher over someone who's like, I'm not technical. I'm just going to hire a team or an offshore team to do it. So it's basically just putting my resume together, my credentials together by building it yourself. It makes you seem more of like, you know, just a reputable person and qualified person to potentially build something, better and just bigger. I don't know, just putting all those interests together, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just learn how to build it myself. I'll start coding. So I mostly build mobile apps. I started with iOS, I did a little back end work, but I've had a couple of jobs over the years. I worked for a vendor for BMW of North America for a little bit, so that was cool. Kind of like my first/second job out of this software engineering boot camp that I took back in 2015 was building apps for BMW. So that was pretty cool to put that on my resume. Mostly dealership facing stuff. And then after that, about a year of that, I worked at NBC Universal, where I built a bunch of video frameworks, or I built a video framework for a bunch of apps for NBC Universal. So like I think a dozen apps at one point used this framework that I was building, leading the team as well. But CNBC, Telemundo, MSNBC, NBC News, all these different brands as part of NBCU were using our video framework. So whenever you play a video in any of these apps, whether it's iOS, tvOS, or any the Android platform apps, that was our framework. And then after that, I worked at the New York Post. I was the manager of the mobile team, so that was cool. Basically reading right-wing New York Post articles all day. I am not that. I just was doing a job and I was going home, but that was it. And not to say I'm either right or left, but I was literally reading notifications and New York Post articles like every single day for like 2.5 years. So I still have my own opinions about things, which we're not going to get into because, I don't want to get into politics right now. Ever since I started really building, I've been doing my platform, Eden, as a side hustle. And then up until about 2.5 years ago, I've been doing it full time. And so I've been through, going through this entrepreneurship journey, trying to figure out the marketing plan, the strategy, really trying to time when I'm going to like start marketing this like properly. And I've kind of come down to the point of getting into podcast guesting and just, showing face and spreading my voice and putting a face to a brand and seeing if people would help, with the adoption. So if all you entrepreneurship people out there, guess podcasting might be your thing or it might not be. But like if you're a consumer app, I think at the end of the day, you have to put your face to the brand. You can't just like sit behind the computer all day, which is what I was trying to do. And I was trying to avoid kind of putting myself in public, but like I think like I just can't do that anymore. It's just not viable. So
That is like the engine of a startup is personal connection. And you're right. This is actually a great way, I feel like, that people have started doing that. I think we've had a couple app startups on the show this season, and it's great because you never know the relationships that you're going to make or who's going to hear or see this episode and be like,
right.
this is a great idea. Maybe I want to invest. Or I was like, yeah, let me download the app.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
mean,
the way it starts. It's that trick. It's that little trickle effect.
right. And podcasting, it's raw, it's authentic, it's natural. It has the human element, it's kind of going back to just the roots of media, but just being authentic with each other. And I think it's more important than ever these days and is being intimate with one another, being authentic, really just having simple conversation like this and just seeing each other, seeing each other react, seeing each other, you know, enjoy ourselves and each other and just being, not obviously we're not in the same room, but just just going back to sort of a raw, authentic phase, which I feel like we're in a state of decline when it comes to all these different social media platforms and just where the world is right now and the loneliness epidemic we're in. It's just like, even if like it's not the most enjoyable thing, at least practice, at least get out there and talk to people, even if they're not like your type of people. I mean, even just go as far as just a simple smile. I go around New York City, I'm walking around, I smile at some people, they look at me like I have three heads. I mean, it's like, come on, we got it. We got to at least practice. We got to just get back to like pre-social media, just to some degree. I mean, even it's just like basic etiquette at this point. So, I think that's where I'm trying to push with my platform and just generally is just a different mindset of let's be more intimate with one another, express ourselves to each other, in a much more fearless manner, being more emotional with each other, being more physical with one another, being more intimate. Because I think that's what people want at the end of the day. There's a Harvard study that I read that says that they did like an 80-year study. They said that at the end of the day, what makes people happy is close connections, close relationships. Period.
That's true. It's a fundamental need that all humans, all living creatures, really rely on is social interaction.
Yeah.
From pack animals to babies to adults. Don't get me wrong. Me time is super important to me.
100%.
But you, like I said, it never hurts to have a little community, a little friend group that can help you just problem solve, that can help you get outside perspectives, because I don't have all the answers. I can admit that. So sometimes I do need to get advice from other people. So I really love that you are aware of the importance of that human interaction, that connection piece. And
Yeah.
also, let's not brush over the resume that you just laid out on here earlier. I was like, you've worked with a lot of notable clients in the past. You've built a heck of a resume.
Yeah. The first one that I was a vendor for BMW, but I was a full-time employee at NBC Universal and News Corp, which owns New York Post. Yeah, media is a weird business, man. It's a
No,
very weird business. I remember when I was at NBC Universal and we implemented this new feature for OTT platforms like TV, like Apple TV and Fire TV and, Fire Stick. So like, basically just like regular TV type apps. And we implemented this feature, and we once we implement it, we got some metrics on how much more view time people had because of this new feature. And they said like users viewed or watched 3% more content than they did before the feature was released. So from a business perspective, that's great, right? 3%
right.
more, great. But then like from like personal values, I just to say that, wow, I just forced somebody to watch 3% more content than they would have if this feature didn't exist. I'm like looking around the room trying to see if anybody's like on my level. I'm like,
Yeah.
did you guys really hear what we just did? We just made everybody watch more TV. And it was just like, oh my god, I don't know if this is who I am. So,
No, right. That's like the last thing we need is another 15 minutes of, staring in front of a screen.
yeah, like I just was like, oh my god, like this is what I do for a living. Making more people watch more TV. I don't know if this is what I want. I'm sorry. Obviously I didn't say anything
Right.
anywhere to anybody. I mean, I did to my coworkers a little bit, and they laughed, because they were
Yeah.
kind of like on the same page as I am. We're just software engineers. Like, do we really like? I mean, I don't know. I think it really depends where you're at, but like in media, it's kind of different unless you're like really into media. But like, you kind of have to look at like just the personal values thing. I don't know. I feel like that hit me the wrong way. So, but it was fun. It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. I can completely understand that. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with the evolution of like social media and especially that digital marketing piece that we're in right now has really changed the game for not just our consumption of screen time, but our buy like how much we're buying. You know, everything is influenced. I feel like pretty much by algorithms and frameworks now. So monetarily speaking, from any business, you're like, oh, this is a great thing, but you're like, did we really need more of this? Because I'm pretty sure, at least the thing that I miss is I remember as a kid, we spent hours on end outside. Like, you knew everybody on the block and you knew their families.
Right.
But now I was like, I couldn't tell you one of my neighbors' names if you paid me. I was like, I
Yeah.
can tell you that one of them has a dog because I heard them barking like 5 minutes ago. But
Right.
other than that, I feel like we are so locked into these screens that we're missing some of those values and potentially memories that a lot of us had as kids.
Right. Yeah, I mean, social media, it really allows you to context switch like instantly. You can switch context like in an instant, right? And what I mean by that is you can just keep scrolling and scrolling to different videos that are basically just context switching. And I feel like a lot of people are beginning to feel like it's hard to replicate that in real life, right? You can't context switch that like that in real life like you can on social media platforms. Even like right now, we're not context switching. We're looking at each other, we're talking with each other, so we can't replicate that social media experience. But the idea is we have to like recalibrate ourselves and understand that we're not going to replicate that addiction to context switching in real life. We have to remember that that's not reality. We have to sort of accept the fact that reality can be sort of monotonous at times in our lives, and that's okay, but that's reality, and that's where we are, and that's our surroundings. And so to expect that real life and being in person is going to be as have the variety that social media has in an instant is just like it's unattainable, and we have to start accepting the fact that that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
There's a word for that. I just don't know what it is. Yeah, no, I mean for me, my habits, I've muted a lot of people. I even though I don't follow them, even though I still follow them, I've muted their stories. I've muted their posts. Like I don't want to see what you're doing if it doesn't involve me, because that's just what it is. It's something that you're doing that does not involve me. So I shouldn't care about this. Like, if you want to tell me something, text me, call me. But just to broadcast it over social media like that, there's not a genuine feeling there. So I've been starting to just sort of trim the fat when it comes to my social media use, one, and just muting people that are just like religious posters. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I just can't. This is not working for me. No offense to these people. I mean, I still like them. They're still, somewhat in my life, but like, I got to get back to having real experiences with these people and not just like relate to these people in a digital manner, because it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not people. Your relationship with people in social media is not real, and you have to accept that.
I mean, like, if you really look at it, that's why a lot of the platforms are called followers. I was like, I'm not a follower. I'm a friend. I can't be one of those religious posters, even though I have a business, even though part of podcasting is reaching a broader audience. I was like, I don't believe in spamming content,
Right.
whether it's my personal life or my business life, because we talked about this. Genuine connection is huge in my realm as a coach and just as a person. And when I share, that's why I loved the semi early stages of Instagram, is because people posted big moments. Like, off the bat, we didn't know what to do, so we were posting random things.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like a sweet spot kind of in the 2010s where like people were just posting like life events, and I was like, you know what? That's really cool, because distance does separate us, but I can kind of know what's happening in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like every day, it's like, here's my Tuesday fit, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're posting, and I'm just like, well, when we're in the same space, what am I really going to catch up with you on? Or even especially if you're like dating, it's like, why would I have your notifications turned on? Because I'm probably there when you're taking the picture. I was like, you're gonna tell me about it when I see you later tonight. We probably talked over on the phone about this. I feel like that's another reason we have such trouble connecting with people, is because we share so much of our lives that when we are in person with each other interacting, we're either quote unquote filming new content
Mm-hmm.
to share with other people, or we've experienced so much of the same thing that I was like, there's nothing new to talk about.
Right.
I went back
Right.
home recently and I like tried to hang out with some of my friends, but we went out to lunch, and literally out of the 6 people there, 5 people were just like glued to their phones, like posting the meal, taking selfies of like the outfit. I was like, if I want to do a photo shoot, I'm just going to go do a photo shoot. I was like, the
Right.
whole point of this is to kind of unplug and to reconnect with each other.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, life can be boring. All right, I think we all know
Oh,
this.
sure.
It's hard to fill your time with things to do that are interesting. Like, I think everyone experiences that. But even when you're with people, talk about nonsense. Who cares? It's
Oh,
at least you're talking about something. It's like, oh my god, you see that car that just whipped by? Like, that wheel was like a different color. Like, whatever it is, even if it's stupid, but it's like it's a way to just like be yourself and connect and talk, even though it's just like meaningless. It's better than being on your phone and not talking about anything. Like, I stopped posting like 2015, late 2015, because I said to myself, what this is basically a false sense of acceptance and attention, and that's a very potentially dangerous thing to feel, because at first you might feel like, oh, this is real attention, this is real acceptance, but it's not. It's all artificial, and people look at your story or people look at your post or like it, whatever. It's a false sense of acceptance and attention, and people need to start understanding that. Yeah. Like, we got to
I
get a grip,
agree.
people.
I believe we've also kind of strayed away from maybe the original intention of social media, of some of these platforms. It was supposed to be connection. That was the whole point of the internet, essentially, is
Not
to
to these
connect people.
businesses. Yes, like that's what they were promoting. Like, this is a place to share and connect with your friends. It's really not. It's
Yeah,
actually the opposite. it's
not
to disconnect with your friends.
right, because honestly, I was like, even on personal pages, like, how often are you actually engaging with people who post? Say you don't follow everybody, but you do follow your friends, and
Mm-hmm.
your friends post and they like ask questions or send you DMs or little memes. Are you really interacting with those posts, or are you just kind of watching them and doom scrolling? I'm the type of person where I was like, I can't. I have to set timers for myself, not timers, but I just have like an intrinsic clock. Like after 5 or 10 minutes of screen time, unless I'm at a movie theater and I'm actually paying to watch something, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I can't stay in front of a screen. Like I got to go do something.
Right.
Whether that's clean, whether that's go for a walk. I'd rather pick up the phone and call. Or I just, like I said, I don't think that we need to oversaturate ourselves and other people with random monotonous moments of our day.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I was like, most really, if you go through and you look at half of the things you consume, if you would have seen this in person, would it have either A, caught your attention, or B, been notable? But no, but I was like, when you are in a vortex of just cat videos and irrelevant material, your whole sense of reality really does get warped.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's so interesting, like the space we're in, like a lot of people. I wish I could do it. I wish I could be more plugged in, but it's just not in my nature. I know just for me, just because I was always active, or there's so many things out in the real world that keep me occupied. What made you decide that this was going to be the issue that you really invested in? Especially being a software engineer, like coding and programming is a lot of what you do. So,
Yeah, so I went through a lot of trauma growing up until about like a little after college, where it was just like back to back forms of trauma. And I was like, my God, is this ever gonna stop or end, or am I just gonna keep like am I gonna keep dealing and encountering these forms of trauma? I've had loss, I've had mental health issues, I've had neurological issues, I've had physical issues. I've had bullying, I've had rejection, I've had friends, piecing out in my life. And it's like, wow, if I'm going to do something and stay alive, I want to do something big. I want to do something impactful. I want to leave something correct behind. And I feel like that thing is the platform I'm building called Eden. If the Garden of Eden, right, these biblical texts were to exist, right? I know I'm corny, this is silly, but if the Garden of Eden were to exist today, how would it work? What would it be? What would it do? So I feel like one of the first things that needs to happen before really anything like sort of tangible is being built is how can we get on the same page when it comes to how we can express ourselves verbally, emotionally, and physically, regardless of labels or identities. Because I feel like that's one of the biggest issues in the world today is just a disagreement on how people can express themselves physically and emotionally and verbally. And that's really the root cause of everything. It's the reason why wars are happening all over the place. I mean, listen, a lot of things are political out there, but I feel like political agendas are driven by just limitations on what people can and cannot do with their bodies and emotions, especially between men. Women, I have a little bit more free for all in terms of how they can express themselves. They're more emotional with each other. They're more intimate with one another. But for men, I feel like there's a lot of lack of intimate and close relationships among men, and that's really frustrating to everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're this gender, sexuality, it doesn't matter. It's a problem, and I feel like if the world were on the same page in terms of how we can connect on an intimate level, it's much easier to build this, quote unquote, Garden of Eden if we were going to do it together. So I feel like it's like the first order of business is to sort of relax the rules or get rid of the rules or revert the rules, whatever word you want to, you choose to use, to live in a world where intimate connections thrive, and it's more of a standard practice, more of an encouraged practice and behavior versus something that's so rare and few and far between, like the world we live in today. So that's what I'm doing. That's stage one, that's phase one, how I can talk about that first.
mm-hmm.
And then once that I get that done, then it's phase two, which is more of a tangible system. Basically, it's something that involves everybody, where no one's going to be left behind in terms of employment. Everyone's going to have their health. Everyone's going to have their peace and quiet and freedom. Everyone's going to have their opportunity to to contribute to society. I know this is like pie in the sky ideas, but it's in my brain. It's in my vision. So we'll see if it happens.
And that's what makes or breaks any, not just app, but business or ideology is you have to dream big. Okay.
Totally. I mean,
Like if you, I was like, if you don't really have a clear vision or you don't have next step, you don't have any growth for your idea, then it's going to be very limited. And I don't know if people will really invest in it.
yeah.
And I guess the biggest metric to me, and I say this, I was like, I would love 1 million listeners and followers, but I don't need it. Whoever finds this show, whoever finds my services helpful or interesting, and they invest in them and they want to interact, those are the people that I look for. And then I hope that I can touch and spread the message too, because I feel like they'll be more receptive to it. And then you'll have more genuine growth and interaction.
Right.
And I feel like it's the same for Eden is it might start with a smaller group and then slowly over the course of a couple of years, it'll have a pretty solid following, or, people will be more understanding of the intention of the
Right.
app.
Right. That's well said. I like that.
Now, this is different for everybody. When I had the founder of Koya Moore on earlier, he was like, numbers are super important to me. Just because like with dating apps, the whole point is to connect and find a person. But for you, how do you view success for your platform?
8 trillion users. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, that'd be nice. I guarantee we would love that.
Why make 1 trillion when you can make 1 billion? No, I'm just kidding. Wasn't that from what movie? Wasn't that like what was that movie with Dr. Evil?
Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, why make 1 billion when you can make 1 million? Metric. I think just getting out there, talking more, getting on podcasts, getting more, having people talk about it. I mean, obviously, listen, users and revenue and ad revenue and subscription revenue is obviously a metric that is important to any, subscription based business,
Right.
Consumer freemium business. But, at this point, it's really about just changing people's lives, affecting people's lives, getting people to meet one another. I mean, if I get 2 people to be friends or to be, lovers or married, I mean, literally, you like change the course of the universe. I mean, that's cool. I mean, if it's just one person, or whatever. But it's like, wow, if you're, if you are responsible for 2 people meeting for whatever intimate reason it is, and you can share your story about it, that'd be awesome. It's like, if I can find the one for everybody, I would. If there was a magic button I can create, which I actually think is possible. I think there's actually a piece of tech that does exist that can be used at scale, that like if you just click a button, it can potentially find the one for you. But that's obviously like science fiction, I think, like for most people right now. But honestly, that's the dream. If the world was matched up, I can rest in peace.
No, I get that. For any and everybody who wants to be coupled up, partnered, 100%. I think there are a lot of great avenues out there right now. Like I've seen a lot of creative ways to find your person. So I was like, if everybody can just move towards that wave and get off dating apps, because they're not doing anybody any service right now. Because the whole point of today's theme so far has been in-person connection. Because I was like, when you were in person, it's so much harder to put on a facade or to try to craft a narrative. You show a lot more of your authentic self when you're just interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
I was like, it's healthier. I was like, you get a bigger rush of endorphins, that really improve your mood face to face.
Yeah. And speaking of face to face, I feel like we all should expect that our true selves are not going to come out at the first instance of or first time you meet somebody. I say you're not going to be your fullest self, and we should expect that. I mean, we should give ourselves some room and some time to sort of become comfortable with each other. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Is this my true and total self right now? Absolutely not. I have like 1 million different personas, but this is one of them.
I love the phrase from Shrek. Shrek was like, Hookers are like onion. We have layers.
Right.
And not just a place to live, but literally people. We have so many different layers to us that make
Right.
us whole. When you just do online interactions, you really just portray that one side of you. But
Yeah.
I was like,
Not even.
people love that geeky side, the nerdy side. I'm like the king of tangents. Like you don't always get that in the show, but if you ever just have a conversation with me, you're like, I don't even know how we got here. And I was like, I don't either, but I enjoyed the ride. That's the thing that I missed about actually connecting with people on the street, whether it's out at a grocery store or a bar or something. It's just little random one-off interactions that you could potentially have.
Yeah, like if it just online interaction, you're not even peeling the skin, and we all
Mhm.
want to be peeled, right? I want to be peeled. You want to be peeled. We all want our layers be peeled back. So I'm I'm ready to be peeled. But here's the thing: if you're in person, you got to smile. If I
Ew.
smile at you and you don't smile back, you know what you're telling me? That I'm disgusting, and I have no business smiling at you. It's like it's such a punch to the stomach.
Yeah.
But then when I pass this person, I curse them out under my breath. Under my breath.
I was like, rejection is hard, and honestly, that's what it is. When people don't reciprocate the, like, so you're not asking. I'm not asking for money, or I'm not asking you for all your time. But when I can't get a smile or a wave, I wave to strangers all the time. I was like, and I'll
Yeah.
keep doing it. I'm weird. I'll keep doing it until I wave back,
Yeah.
just because I really want to start fostering that connection. It shouldn't be weird to want to get to know your quote unquote neighbor.
Right.
I was like, there are over 7 billion people on the planet. Instead of a world wide web technology, I want a world wide web of human interaction
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where you actually just you get to know new people, you give a crap. Because let's be honest, you probably in your day to day, especially in New York, you probably see some stuff that like is a little sketch, or you're like, dude, can you just be a person? Just have
Everything is
some common
sketchy.
decency. But they don't do that because they don't smile. They don't wave at each other. I was like, we don't really treat each other like neighbors anymore. I would just love to see more of that, and I'm excited to see how your platform can foster that and like where it'll reach.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it does. I think it's the evolution of human connection. I think we have to sort of evolve ourselves and get back to our roots, which is being intimate, looking for intimacy, being open to it. And even if you don't want to be intimate with someone, at least have an open mind of accepting or being willing to receive some sort of advance, whether it's verbal, emotional, or physical. Obviously, physical is consensual. Let's make that clear. But the behavior that I experienced growing up and in college was just completely unacceptable. And I was just like, this is the problem. Like we live in a world where people are insecure, uncomfortable for quite frankly no reason and flatter themselves for no reason. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's no way to live. It's no world. This is not a world that we should continue to live in.
Live in such a materialistic and, because I like the word, shallow society right now, where we are judged and perceived not just on our relationships, but a lot of our extrinsic factors. So even though it's so hard, I was like, we always take two
Go
steps
for it.
forward, one step back.
Mhm.
We've made a lot of strides as a society. Don't get me wrong, but there are way more things that I feel like that we're failing or reverting in that made us great, not
Yeah.
just in the States, but just like as people. When towns were just starting out at the dawn of civilization, I was like, sure, you had some people who were selfish, but overall, you had communities working together to build something. We
Mhm.
don't really try to build anything anymore. We try to see how much of something we can take.
No, we're selling shit. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
We're
Yeah.
selling crap all day.
I just want to commend you because I don't think people realize how much time and effort goes into building a website, let alone building an app or a platform that is user friendly and functional.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. There, I mean, we've had a lot of glitchy sites. There have just been sites where you're just like, I don't understand like how to use this. I was like, I don't want to ever have to have somebody do a YouTube tutorial on how to use my stuff. That's
And that's No, that's a really good point. So I try to design it as best I can where like a user can just figure it out. They don't really need like a manual or anything. They can just kind of figure it out, which is what a lot of apps do. You know, they try to just get you to figure it out. So hopefully I did that. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
No, like I said, I'm excited to see how much Eden starts to grow here in the next couple of years. It's so hard because, and I'm guilty of this. I love instant gratification. I was like, when I put something out, I immediately want to see the results.
I'm like that.
Sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time.
No.
So I'm excited to see how the growth of, like I said, Eden just continues to build up over the next year or so.
Yeah.
Because I know when I'm out, I'll be like, when somebody mentions it, I'm gonna be like, dude, I've been with Eden for 2 years now, like since 2024. Where have you been at? I feel like it's gonna be a great concept that brings a lot of people in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was one of those people growing up, like in grade school, when I took like a math test or something, I wanted the teacher to grade it right in front of me. When I was finished, I was like, what did I get?
Yeah, I was like, no, I can't wait
Way
till
later.
come on, I need it now.
Yeah.
No, I love that. The show is called The Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. What is your current status right now? Are you partnered, unpartnered? Just
I
kind of
am
feeling it out?
I am partnered with me, myself, and I.
That is the best relationship that I can think of that I've been a part of. So I was like, I'm glad that
Yeah.
that you're there too.
There's three of us and we're all equally crazy.
That just keeps things interesting. Let's be honest. You got to take time for yourself, especially like in this era right now. You're grinding. You're not grinding away, but you're grinding hard to push your product. The life
Yeah.
of an entrepreneur is not easy. It
Yeah.
costs a lot of hours to log in.
Yeah, I'm like half trying to find somebody, half not trying. You know, like I'm kind of full throttle with like what I'm doing with Eden and just trying to be mentally clear with that. Not to say that having a partner is going to be making me mentally unclear, but I don't know. It's just like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You know, I'm not like I'm not getting out the yellow pages anytime soon.
No, just start cold calling people. No, I love that.
Hey, it's Justin from around the corner. How you doing?
I was like, you doing anything? No, all right. We're grabbing drinks. We're getting dinner.
Yeah, well, if you
No,
change your mind, you can call me back.
that would be jokes. That would be class if I ever experienced that. That would be class.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you're not really looking, but when you are looking, what's something that you really look for in a partner?
Good question. What do I look for in a partner? Someone who's funny. I like a sense of humor. I think if you can make me laugh, that's a good plus. Be kind of
I
silly with
agree.
yourself. Be
It's like so.
sarcastic. Not
Yeah.
take things seriously. My I'm pretty sarcastic. I mean, if I can be sarcastic for the rest of my life for a living, I would. But like, I'm not like good enough to be like a comedian. I don't think. I kind of like talking to people. I don't like just kind of standing up there and talking by myself. I think it's just weird,
Yeah.
at least for me. But yeah, sense of humor. Someone who I don't know likes to eat, or likes to try good food or eat good food. I don't know how much do you want me to get into this?
Listen, this is your time. I was like, you can give me as much information. Who knows? Who knows who's listening right now? Maybe it's your your future partner.
Yeah, tall, dark, and handsome. Let's just run it through it.
Listen, it's tried and true for a reason. It's tried and true for a reason.
Tall, dark, handsome, motivated, funny. The works.
I mean, we love that. Like, you have to have a equal balance of physical attributes that you're looking for and just characteristics that you deem to be necessary.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if it's necessary, but they're nice to have.
yeah. Oh, no, humor is a non-negotiable for me. I was like, if I always have to be the funny one in the pairing, I don't know if it'll work out.
Yeah.
I need a little tit for tat sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I went on a couple of dates actually, recently, and one thing that was just a huge turnoff is that some people think it's okay or like it shows their personality when they disagree with you. Like
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying you have to agree with me on everything, but literally I went on some dates where this person was disagreeing with me the entire time. I was like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. Because like I don't want to live with somebody who's just going to constantly disagree with me.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It doesn't make you seem smarter or better or more well-rounded or, I'm not saying don't have your opinions, but like at least massage mine a little bit. Like don't just completely cut off what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. At least I don't think I am. And I know I'm not stupid. So, there's that. But yeah, that was don't just disagree all the time, people, if you're listening. It's not cool.
I mean, if you can't see eye to eye on most of each other's policies or just basic ideas, you're right, it's never going to work. I was like, I don't mind having somebody who plays devil's advocate from time to time because I think we need that. But
totally,
I'm not trying to get into a debate 24/7. I don't have the mental energy for it.
God, no way.
Now this one, like, you can get as crazy as you want to. Doesn't even have to be a real person.
I love crazy,
but I want to know this because this has been a big thing for me this year. So I just want to know it from you. If you could work with one person, doesn't matter what the project is, they just like you. They come up to you and it's like, hey, let's do something. Who's somebody you would love to collaborate with, fictional or real? I'll take it.
Oh my god, it's so hard. I think like building tech that leads to world peace will be cool. So I've always been a fan of like Iron Man. So I feel like if like someone built the Iron Man suit like actually like and it led to like world peace, like that's cool.
Telling Justin, just out there working. I can see that.
Yeah, just like something that like puts the world at bay. I don't know. I'm into geopolitics nowadays, so I'm like, oh my god, why is everyone so flustered all over the place? It's like, can't we just all calm down for 2 seconds? What is the problem? So I don't know. Maybe Iron Man needs to come and just like settle everything and be like, listen, you go over there, you go there, you be quiet, you calm down, and everybody play nicely. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, geopolitics is killing me right now. It's just like crazy to hear what's going on across the world. So yeah.
And I don't think it's getting any more tamer.
It's just like, it's a lot of scary news. It's just like, oh my god, is this ever going to stop? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tony Stark, I guess.
That's a good one. Last question I have. I'm only asking this because this weekend I heard a lot of great lines. So I have to ask, what do you think is probably like the best chat up line that you've heard or used on somebody? If you can remember. If not, that's okay too.
My god, the best chat up line. It's, I don't know.
Maybe you do. Come on. Let's hear
it. It's hey honey, how's your bunny? It's so bad. So stupid.
Hey honey, how's your buddy? Oh my.
Hey honey, how's your bunny?
I can definitely say I haven't heard that one before. That is
nor should you. I can't really think of one like a good one. That's just a bad one I have in the back of my head that I just can't think of anything else right now.
Sometimes things are so bad that they're good.
Yeah.
So who knows? People might work on somebody.
Yeah. Okay. You see those that there's this one account that like that is literally walking towards somebody and they say something. But it's something insulting to the person, but they're actually talking about something tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, so the guy's like, oh my god, look at that piece of cake.
Yeah.
And
what are you talking about?
Like, excuse me, I'm old enough to be your mom. And like the guy, and like behind her is a guy holding a piece of cake.
Yeah. Those do make me laugh a little bit.
Those are kind of funny.
This has been fun. I've had a couple good laughs today.
Good. And me too.
I mean, like I said, I keep saying it, but I'm excited to share this platform. Hopefully, by the time this episode airs, it's grown even more exponentially since we recorded it. Mm-hmm. But before we get out of here, is there anything else you want to share with the audience about Eden, about life?
Yeah, no. I mean, when you have a chance, go to myeden.me. That's where you can download the app. It's myeden.me. So it's pretty simple. And just tips about life.
Alrighty, Justin, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Guys, go over, show Justin some love at myeden.me. Go ahead, download the app now. Let's start connecting with each other. honestly, I was like, whether it's smiling at the next person you cross on the street, giving them a wave, or just making plans to meet up with somebody, phone free, screen free, no screens. That's just the first step to maybe a better tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because I feel like the more we really get to connect with other people, the more we can connect with ourselves too. And when we really are acting like complete beings, who knows what we're capable of.
totally. Love it.
But until the next time, I will see all you amazing bachelors and bachelorettes on another episode of the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. Peace, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Josh.